escorting the two teams are up. Well done, under 13s.
Well, Knights do not get much bigger than this in the regular season of NPL Men's Victoria. A game with such significant ramifications for both teams as Dandenong City welcome Manningham United to Frank Holohan Soccer Complex in the third to last round of the men's season. As mentioned, both teams with so much on the line, albeit quite different things. Manningham United coming into tonight's game in desperate hope of making a late charge to escape relegation, a fate that has become suddenly much more threatening in recent weeks with the news of the potential delay of the national second tier and the possibility that there may well be two teams leaving NPL men's top flight in Victoria. Meanwhile, Dandenong City come into the game off the back of a monumental win, and they knocked off South Melbourne, top of the league South Melbourne, at Lakeside. It was a mighty impressive performance, which has done them a huge favour in their chase for finals football. They come into this weekend's fixtures sitting in 6th position, which would be enough to secure finals. They will need to continue to pick up the points in the final 3 games of the season if they are indeed to get their way to the showpiece stage of the season. It's a positive start for Manningham in the red and white kits. We'll run you through the starting 11s in just a moment. My name is Oscar Rutherford, taking you through all of the action. The visitors Manningham United have made 3 changes to the team, which suffered a heavy defeat away at Hume last time out. Reece Dufton, Ayrton Redmore and Paul Quoll all starting tonight's game on the bench. As we see that ball rolling out for a harmless goal kick into the 11 for Manningham United come Dow Akol, James Tuntus and Mohammed Al-Sadi, the goal scorer from last week, getting his run in the starting 11. For Dandenong City, meanwhile, a couple of changes made by Nick Tolios, Brady Quinn and Jackson Lino, both making their return to the starting 11. It's Thomas Giannakopoulos who's dropped to the bench to make way, whilst Vali Sesnik is out of the matchday squad for tonight's contest. We see it's been a positive start for Manningham. Ben Everson there with that ambitious attempt. He's been scoring almost for fun this season. And for the first time now, the hosts venture into the opposition half. We see Kenny Athew. The ball ricochets out to the right-hand side, where Brady Quinn endeavours to keep the ball in play, unsuccessfully on that occasion. Manningham coming into this weekend's fixtures in 13th position on the ladder, just ahead of Moreland City. Now the possibility that, despite for most of the season I was thinking that it would just be the one team going down, then it may well be two. Manningham United could be the victims if that were to be the case. Their fate is still in their own hands, or at least they can give themselves as good a shot as any by continuing to pick up the points in the final 3 games of the campaign. So the ball flicked on into the path of Jose Ramirez. Looks to hold off the play on that far side. Ball into the box is hoofed clear. We've of course seen Manningham United start a number of games this season against more fancied oppositions really positively. So the ball played out to the right-hand side by Kurt Kuaku, who of course switched between these two teams during the season, now in the colours of Manningham. Ramirez plays it out to the left-hand side. And the early chance is very much alive, and the toe poke finish is in. And Manningham United have themselves a shock lead at Frank Holohan Soccer Complex. They've been all over their hosts in the first 4.5 minutes, and now they've got a goal to show for it as well. In such a huge game for both of these teams, it is Manningham who have made the ideal start. George Karkaletsis' side very much bringing the game to their hosts, and now find themselves with an early advantage. Well, as said, it's hard to argue that Manningham don't deserve their lead with the way that they've started this game. It's really only been the one venture into the Manningham half for Dandenong City thus far. You see the ball doesn't take long to get turned over yet again. And right now, Dandenong City are playing like a team who are rattled. So corner sent in, finds its way into the middle of the box. The shot comes in from Castiello and fell to the feet of Ben Everson. Just for a moment, you thought there was a chance.
Kenny, every single one of them get a right. Every single one.
You might be able to hear Nick Tolios. He's very vocal early in this game, not happy with the way his team has started, and you can understand why. Just also confirming for you that that goal, the scorer was James Tuntus.
Hey, second!
And so it is one of the inclusions for Manningham, who has done the early damage. And right now, everything they do is working out. Kuaku there, playing the ball through. It's a very impressive extended run. Made right through the heart of the Dandenong City team by Junior Carter. Shooting out for Al-Sadi. Not quite on the same page as his striker Ben Everson, so James Zidius will look to escape. Junior Carter is caught, so it will be another free kick opportunity for Manningham, who continue to just pile the pressure on to Dandenong City. City, a team who came into tonight full of confidence after such an impressive display at South Melbourne. But they have been shell-shocked by what Manningham have brought in the first 8 minutes of this game. Sent into a dangerous area. The header is a powerful one from Dal Akol, but a brilliant save from John Hall. Keeps it at bay for the moment at least. Pretty strong claims for a handball. Referee opts against it. It was Stefan Bresovic making his way out of the penalty area. Flicked up onto his arm. Kirk Kuaku now fires. And Dandenong City escape. Well, we're not at the best angle to tell whether Stefan Bresovic was still inside the box, but it did look like it pretty clearly struck his hand. So perhaps Dandenong City have gotten away with one early. And that's in addition to the goal that they've conceded. Mohamed Al-Sadi will find its way back to Ali Turgut. And Dandenong find their way back into possession. And finally a bit of a reprieve as Will Bauer is dragged down. And you can hear maybe Jose Ramirez continuing his protests at the non-award of the penalty a couple of minutes ago. And you can really sense the energy from this Manningham team. This game has gone precisely as they would have wanted to for the first 10 minutes. And now the challenge for Dandenong City is to muster a response. Junior Carter, though, slides his way past a number of opponents to set away Tuntus, the goal scorer. The numbers get back in time for Dandenong City. Now they'll quickly work their way down the other end. Brady Quinn's pass up the field finds James Zidius. The cross, though, didn't make at all the right kind of contact. Bit of anything, a bit of reprieve for the City defence, who've been right under the cosh to start this game. These, of course, the two teams who were promoted from NPL 2 last season, as it was then known. They've had quite different campaigns. Dandenong City spending most of it in and around the finals race. Whilst Manningham, they started the season very brightly, but very quickly reverted to the more expected outcome towards the lower end of the table. 3 points tonight, though, would be absolutely massive in their hopes to avoid relegation, even if two teams do end up needing to go down. They head into the weekend 4 points behind St Albans. St Albans, who host Dandenong Thunder at Churchill Reserve on Sunday afternoon. So if the score remains as it is, they will have cut the deficit to just the 1 point Manningham with 2 games left in the season. There's a long way to go before we can reach that conclusion. Dandenong City now, really for the first time in the game, spending an extended period with their feet on the ball. Ball sent up towards Kenny Athieu. Ali Turgott quickly sends it in the opposite direction. Full play there by Kim to Damien Iaconis. Zidius sends it forward. Throw sent in. Iaconis is on the receiving end. Damien Iaconis quickly on the receiving end is from some instructions from his coach, Nick Tolios. Told to lock it in rather than just play the first time ball. Just with the way the game's gone so far, Dandenong City would really benefit from some time on the ball in the Manningham half, something that they haven't really had up to this point. Might be able to hear the ground announcer here at Frank Holohan, just keeping us up to date with the scores around the grounds. This, of course, one of 3 games happening in NPL Men's Victoria tonight. That ball in is a good one as well. Damien Iaconis. Well, there was no shortage of ambition in what he tried to do. Very much one of those 1 in 100 kind of attempts. And unfortunately for us, we got one of the 99. The scores from around the grounds is one of 3 games in NPL Men's Victoria tonight. South Melbourne taking an early lead at Lakeside against Port Melbourne. That, of course, good news for Dandenong City. Port Melbourne, one of their direct rivals for that 6th final spot. Meanwhile, in the other big game at the Village, Heidelberg have themselves an early lead against Hume City. Hume City, the team who comfortably outplayed Manningham last time out. No doubt Manningham are enjoying the much nicer conditions tonight compared to what they were dealing with up north. Free kick taken quickly. The foul called there on Junior Carter, and the first booking has arrived. It's Brady Quinn who goes into the notebook of referee Puya Gadirian. So free kick chance now for Manningham, sent in by James Tuntis. It finds a teammate's head, and Manningham have their second goal. It has been a perfect start at Frank Holohan Soccer Complex for Manningham United. Alex Castiello adds his name to the score sheet, and it is 2-0 to Manningham. And this is turning into quite the night and a major twist in the relegation battle. The imposing figure of Castiello thumping home the headed chance. And you can see, or perhaps hear, the stunned silence around Frank Holohan. No one saw this start coming, perhaps except for Manningham. We have, as I mentioned before, seen these kinds of starts from Manningham United this season, and it hasn't always led to the 3 points. The challenge will be, well, even if they can't maintain quite this level of performance, just stabilising in the second half and keeping their opponents at bay. Ben Everson's potentially in behind. Fortunately, that time John Hall was in the right position and able to quickly claim the ball. And right now, Dandenong City need a dramatic change of fortunes with the way this game is playing out. Tuntis, the scorer of the first goal. Makes some space on his right boot, plays it towards Junior Carter, who fired from a long way out. The deflection took it just wide of the post. That was very nearly a third Manningham goal. Well, we've already seen the threat that particularly the Manningham defenders can pose from these kinds of dead ball situations. Their big bodies in the box, Dow Ackle, as well as, of course, Alex Castiello, the scorer of the second goal. That's where this quarter's headed as well. It bounced off Kenny Athieu. That one not dealt with particularly comfortably. And the ball not quite kept in play, so Dandenong City will be able to restart with a goal kick. But Castiello very nearly found himself in the position to score twice in a matter of minutes. So the question becomes, what will be the circuit breaker for Dandenong City, because they need one sooner rather than later. Jose Ramirez this time on the receiving end of a foul. Dandenong City coming into tonight, not just off the back of that win at Lakeside, but they've won 3 of their last 4 games as well. Really refound their best football at the right time of the season. It doesn't look like that right at the moment. Junior Carter is on the receiving end of the free kick. Al-Sadi almost able to keep the play going. And now Tavella, a little bit too much on the half clearance, half ball looking for a teammate. And the likes of Jack Webster on the ball now have a major task in front of them just to get this game back on an even keel before they can even think about working their way back into the contest. This is Will Bauer, though, for Dandenong City, as they make their way down the right-hand side. Overlapping run from Zidius. And the attempted cross inside is blocked at the first instance by Dow Ackle. Will be a Brady Quinn corner ensuing, though, for the hosts. Ball in, flick on header from Iaconis. The end result is a very comfortable goal kick for Manningham United. Just over 20 minutes played. Stunning result. As things stand, Manningham 2 early goals. First from James Tuntis, then from Alex Castiello.
Off you, Jose, off you.
Goal kick finds its way a long way through, almost to the feet of Ben Everson. Jose Ramirez using all of his experience to allow that one to roll out. Ali Turgis' throw asks quite a lot of Al-Sadi. Chance perhaps with a lot of space in the Manningham half of the field for Brady Quinn to run into. As ever, it's Zidius providing the overlapping run. Quinn goes himself, finds its way out to Danny Kim, looks in towards the clever ball of Kenny Athieu, and doing just enough coming off his line was Hayden Brown. One of the players on the pitch whose name has hardly been called up to this point. It's been a fairly comfortable start to the game for the mid-season recruit at Manningham. Hayden Brown hasn't been all smooth sailing in his first few games, but at the moment things are looking good, as they are for Kurt Kuaku. Kenny Athiu and Damien Iaconis not on the same wavelength with that ball through. Brown sends it up towards Carter, and now Everson. Out to Al-Sadi. It's a good first touch from Mohammed Al-Sadi. Plays the ball inside. It was a clever idea. And asking a little bit too much of James Tuntus. Looked for a second to have won the ball back, but foul called. Much to the relief of Dandenong City. Well, perhaps, finally from a Dandenong City perspective, Manningham might have dropped a gear, or maybe not, as again the ball is won back in such a dangerous area. Ben Everson turns. It's a really important touch from Bresovic to take the sting out of the shot. Dandenong not doing themselves any favours, just inviting the pressure with those kinds of moves. Junior Carter slips as he tries his attempt from range. Well, if you haven't been able to hear it, Nick Tolios has been barking instructions at his team for the entirety of this first half so far. So we see Will Bauer now making his way down the left-hand side. Cross inside is a good one, and Damien Iaconis has one back for Dandenong City. It was great play from Will Bauer. There's a yellow card shown in the aftermath. But the Bauer cross perfectly picked out Iaconis. And a player of his quality unlikely to miss that kind of chance, and indeed he did not. Dandenong City have their route back into this game. 2-1 the score. And all of a sudden things feeling a lot less comfortable for Manningham in one swift attacking move. This game has certainly lived up to the billing in terms of entertainment value for the first 25 minutes. Two teams playing like they've got a lot on the line, and it's created a fantastic spectacle. And this, the first time really that we've seen some firm resistance to what Manningham have brought to start this game. We'll see if they're able to respond in kind.
Man up! Come on, Seth! It's all right, let him go! It's all right! Just man up! Hey! 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 Go higher! Go higher! Just stand up! Stand up!
Ramirez crowded out by a couple of City players. Now Kenny Athiu is strong with the body. Looks to set away Brady Quinn. Quinn has Iaconis making the run. Opts instead for Zidius. And coming across was Castiello. Mopping up at the back and launching the counter for Manningham. A well-timed challenge from Webster. And just a few things starting to go the way of Dandenong City now. The game perhaps looking a little bit more like what Nick Tolios and his coaching staff had envisaged. Will Bauer created the goal that Dandenong City got. This time he goes himself. And safe to say he won't be looking back on that one too fondly. You can see his quality on the ball though, Will Bauer. Just makes space like it's nobody's business. Unfortunately though, on that occasion, there was not the finished product to match. This, of course, the second meeting between these two teams this season. They did meet back in round 11 at Petty's Reserve. And that game was a goal fest too. Dandenong City winning 3-2. A brace for George Lambatterides and a Jack Webster goal, proving enough for the visitors on that day. Goals for Manningham coming from Ben Everson and Reece Dufton, as we see Kenny Atthew making his way forward for City. Bauer. Turgott comes out on top of that battle.
Make sure you're testing! You can see that. Lino, you can see that. Oh, he's going to jump out the rear. That's not a free kick. Get on in there. It's a foul. Let's go. Come on. How's it a free kick? There shouldn't be a free kick. That's what I'm saying. Keep walking.
Well, the tension is clear for all to see, both on the bench and with the coaching staff and on the field. Dandenong City far from happy with the way this game has started, but they have now got themselves right back into the contest. 2-1 the score as we speak. And you get the sense there's more than a small chance that we'll see another goal or two in this game. And really for the first time it's Manningham just looking to slow down the pace. Ali Turgott's throw finds Tuntus, who tried to play it off his defender, but it rebounded back into his own legs and out for a goal kick. Goal kick sent up towards Kenny Atthew, who wasn't able to trap the ball. Tuntus tries to pick out Ben Everson. Now John Hall is quick with the release. And sent right back to the Dandy City goalkeeper by Ali Turgott. Brestovic out towards the right-hand side. Too much on the ball. Manningham, as good as their start to this game has been, the challenge has been closing things out and getting the 3 points. They haven't picked up many wins at all over the last couple of months, Manningham United. In fact, just the one win in their last 14 league games. It's not to point out the single points that they've picked up against a number of opposition, which has kept them ticking along at a reasonable rate. But the lack of wins has really hurt them. We'll see if they're able to play out the remainder of this game with their lead intact. The way things are going right at the moment, though, Dandenong City looking more and more confident. Ball through towards Lino. And Lambatterides' pass ever so slightly overhit. Jackson Lino will get us back underway, one of the players back in the Dandenong City team. Mears plays it over his head, and Tuntus tried to set away Ben Everson. Brestovic back out towards Atthew, but the pass overhit. Everson now. Cut out by Zidius. And now Quinn. Inside towards Kim. And now this is Bauer. Challenge was late from Turgott, but Lino continues the run. And Alsadi now will clear the danger. We see Will Bauer still worse for wear after that challenge from Ali Turgott. Now back on his feet, the Dandenong City attacker. Although still looking rather uncomfortable. Batteridis now. Bauer, who's back on his feet. And Kuaku wins the ball away from Iaconis. Although Ben Everson has asked a little bit too much with that ball through. Bauer again. Looks for Iaconis. Castiello had a big head start, but he wasn't taking any chances as he sends it out for a throw. And we will see the yellow card shown for that challenge a couple of minutes ago from Ali Turgott. The third booking of this first half. Chance now for the Dandenong City throw to be delivered. Junior Carter is there defensively. Lino worked his way into the right position. Webster crossed in, and the headed chance came. The chance was missed. Some shouts for a high boot. But the opportunity goes begging. Will Bauer was the player who had the chance. He had to react with lightning reflexes to get anything on it.
Ali, face the ball, Ali.
It's really the first time in the game that we've had the tension just drop ever so slightly after such a thrilling start. Although Dandenong City are very quickly looking to turn back up the dial. Cross inside, asks a bit of Hayden Brown. Goes with the double-fisted punch, and Akol gets the ball clear.
Ref, watch the feet! Another fell throw.
The way things are going right now, you'd imagine if you offered Manningham the 2-1 scoreline at the break, they'd be quite happy to take it, as Kim looks to play through his captain in Webster. Didn't have the pace to get there comfortably. So Hayden Brown will be able to take a goal kick for the visitors. Into now the final 10 minutes of first half regulation. Brown hoping for Ramirez, who missed his attempt with the head. Everson now. He's maybe hoping that Tuntis was a little bit wider. The winger, though, found himself drawn in more centrally. And things looking just a little bit more laboured right now for Manningham. Webster's ball up. Meets the head of Castiello. Now Iaconis out to Zidius, who was a little bit too quick for his own feet. Confirmation that we have reached half-time at Lakeside, South Melbourne, 1-0 ahead at the break. So, with Dandenong City losing and Port Melbourne losing as things stand, they'll both remain on their respective number of points, with Dandy just a point ahead. Although it does potentially make way for Melbourne Knights, who are just a further point behind Dandenong City on 32, to potentially leapfrog both teams by the end of the weekend. Melbourne Knights, though, with a real tough assignment away at Jack Edwards still to come. Long ball, hoping for Athieu. Akol's defensive header didn't do his team a lot of favours. Athieu's crossed in towards Iaconis. Well, the attempt to play it off Athieu was probably a sensible idea, although it deflected wildly into the middle of the box, so the defending had to continue for Manningham. Kim. It's out towards Bauer. Sadi doesn't have a lot of space, and indeed he's unable to keep the ball. Long ball up towards Leno. Lambatarides and Carter go head to head. Kim looks towards Bresovic. Jose Ramirez very nearly intercepting in a super dangerous area, but now Bauer for Dandenong City. Goes the lofted cross. Athieu will get a head on it into the path of Iaconis. Shouts for a penalty. Brady Quinn, though, continues the attack. Cross inside. Iaconis tries his luck, and Kenny Athieu with the shot, which ultimately flashes past the post. Dandy City have had the last two good chances, both times unable to direct it on target. And the direction of this game has flipped right on its head. Tuntus now. It was a long time ago that he opened the scoring for Manningham. Quinn. Out towards Bauer. It's a nice touch from Athieu. Iaconis looking to sneak in before Hayden Brown could get there, but it was the goalkeeper who was alert. Chance now for Everson, for Manningham. Still Ben Everson. Turns one way, then the other. The sheer weight of numbers, though, pays dividends from a City perspective. And the mood really has shifted in the last 15-20 minutes. Now the nervous shouts coming much more from George Karkaletsis than Nick Tolios. Despite the fact that Manningham do still find themselves in front. This is Bauer. Towards Lambatarides. Cross inside. Crucial touch comes from Dow Akol. It's a windy evening all across Melbourne, making, imagine set pieces in particular, more difficult to defend. That header from Stefan Bresovic maybe showing the effects of the wind. Awkward to track the balls that go so high up. Everson goes himself into the legs of Stefan Bresovic. Those two continue their battle, with Bresovic playing it off the striker. So we end in a Dandenong City throw in that far corner. Webster looking to continue the play. And well, I think the referee had blown his whistle for a premature closing down from the restart of play, but subsequently Jack Webster making a less than pretty challenge, which leads the Dandenong Central defender to go into the book. So another flashpoint and concern from a Manningham United perspective as well. The referee doing his very best to keep a lid on affairs at the moment. It looks as if we may be in for a bit of a delay. Certainly wasn't an ideal challenge coming in from the veteran centre half. Far from ideal scenes from a Manningham perspective. Does look as if they may be able to make their own way off the pitch, which is certainly a positive sign. Preparing for a good chunk of first half stoppage time as a result. It is indeed Jose Ramirez, the afflicted party. It's a real concern for the veteran midfielder. But it looks as if he will be good to continue at least till the end of the first half, which is a positive outcome from a Manningham perspective. Indeed for all of us, as we do head into first half stoppage time, 4 minutes of it. Without an extra one or two because of that last stoppage there. So more than enough time for another twist in this thrilling first 45 minutes of action. Jose Ramirez still not looking entirely comfortable. I imagine he'll just be trying to get to the half-time break. They'll be able to be assessed more fully if there is indeed any further concern. This is Kenny Atthew now for Dandenong City. Able to keep his feet, and now Lambatarides. Cross inside. Important defensive header from Tavella. The follow-up shot comes in. And once again, the referee is the subject of more protests. Calls for a handball in the block. We will end with a Dandenong City corner to be sent in. This one towards the near post. Atthew was the target. Bit of miscommunication between goalkeeper and defender as Hayden Brown attempts the punch. The chance still alive. Kuaku gets it up towards Turgott. And now Ramirez sends it back towards the centre. Kuaku there mopping up. Now Everson for Manningham. Al-Sadi hoping to find Ramirez. But a long way off his line was John Hall, and with good reason. That long ball, though, unable to be kept in play. Indeed bounces over the fence around the perimeter of Frank Holohan Soccer Complex. And well, the concern continues for Jose Ramirez, who's gone back to the deck. Unfortunately, it looks as if his night may well be over following that earlier challenge. What would be a big blow for Manningham. First half that started so positively, and they've been dragged right back into the battle by a resurgent Dandenong City. See Jose Ramirez assisted from the field. This play gets back underway. Leno's throw ends up at the feet of Athieu. Junior Carter deemed to have fouled the Dandy City striker. So a late chance for the hosts to grab an equaliser. Will Bauer, who got the assist for their goal so far, with a chance to add a second to his name just before the halftime break. Bauer delivers. It's got lots of pace. It finds Athieu with the header. Do enough to get the ball clear initially, Manningham. Now Kim. Space was effectively closed down. And perhaps a chance for a Manningham counter. Ben Everson has the run made underlapping from Al-Sadi. With a strong touch from James Idias. Diverts it to John Hall. Referee happy to allow the play to continue. Jose Ramirez is back on the pitch, although he is in an offside position for that one. You can see Jose Ramirez, it takes a whole lot to force him out of a game as he continues to persist. And hopefully that's a positive sign that maybe the injury is not as bad as it's looked at times. This is Tuntus now for Manningham. Charging through the middle, still James Tuntus. He's got options on either side, eventually goes out to Ramirez. Goes the low driven cross. Leno with the block, and we will have a late Manningham corner. Well, it would be a significant shift in the direction of this game if Manningham could jag a late goal just before the break. Sent in the header, and at the far post, Junior Carter was there. Well, a golden chance at the death for Manningham to restore their 2-goal lead. Not to be. And so we head into half-time at Frank Holohan Soccer Complex after a breathless first 45. 2-1 the score in favour of Manningham United, who are halfway there to picking up a huge 3 points in their attempt to stave off relegation. For Dandenong City, it was a slow start. The first 20 minutes they were caught cold, but they've worked their way back into the game. And that goal from Damien Iaconis means that the margin sits at just the 1 goal as we head into a massive second 45 of action. Be sure to join me for it after the break. But at half-time at Frank Holohan Soccer Complex, the scoreline reads Dandenong City 1, Manningham United 2.
The score up down South Garden, 54 minutes gone. South scored another goal. They're leading Port Melbourne 2 goals to 0. years, and lose late yard, so enjoy the second half of my best game.
Welcome back to Frank Holohan Soccer Complex, second half of NPL Men's Victoria, round 24 action. Halftime score, Dandenong City 1, Manningham United 2. In a game with significant implications for both teams. And it's the relegation-threatened Manningham, who as things stand are claiming a massive 3 points. Dandenong City, though, resurgent in that first half after being caught cold in the first 20 minutes and going 2-0 behind. They've clawed 1 goal back and finished the stronger team. So the question is, will they be able to continue that momentum they wrestled back for themselves? As we continue along, this is George Lambatarides for the hosts Dandenong City, playing it out to Jackson Leno. Back to the midfielder, Lambatarides, cross in, header comes from Iaconis. Played its way out to the far side where Brady Quinn was.
He's got a return, let's see. How long? How long?
Play brought to an end by the offside flag.
Stay where you are.
James Tuntis and Alex Castiello scoring the first half goals for Manningham. Who else? They're concerned with their relegation battle. For Dandy City, it's the finals race. Currently sitting just inside the top 6 are Dandenong City, but with Melbourne Knights and Port Melbourne incredibly close with just 3 games remaining this season. A win tonight is almost a must for Dandy City. Although, as things stand, Port Melbourne look to be on the path to a defeat at Lakeside. Score as things stand, 2-0 to South Melbourne. So they're in pole position, South, to take another big step towards a league title, whilst leaving Port Melbourne on the 33 points that they enter this weekend on. Which makes this second half even more important for Dandenong City, knowing that a win could lift them 4 points clear with just 2 games remaining of their nearest rivals. Albeit Melbourne Knights also still very much in that race. But both of these teams will have to concentrate now on the next 45 minutes of action. This is Kurt Kuaku for Manningham. Danny Kim sends the ball out towards the left-hand side. Header came from Will Bauer. Junior Carter looks upwards towards Al-Sadi. It does look as if we have a very early change in the second half coming the way of Manningham, and Jose Ramirez, who caught a really heavy challenge at the end of that first half, managed to soldier on to get to half-time, and was somewhat surprised to see him come out to start this second half. But it hasn't lasted long. And so Giannis Georgopoulos gets ready to make his way into the game. Mirrors will exit on the far side of the pitch. And so it will be Georgopoulos to make his bow, the best and fairest winner at Northcote City last season. And he's got a big role to play in the middle of the park for Manningham City for this second half. I should say for Manningham in the middle of the park. So we see Bauer sends the ball forward for the hosts. Kenny Atthew had a number of players converge on him as soon as he picked up the ball, and it does end up rolling out for a Manningham throw. Throw will be taken by Ali Turgid, one of 3 players on a yellow card heading into the second half. Throw though taken quickly for City. This is Kenny Atthew, cross inside. It's a comfortable claim for Hayden Brown. Ball sent up towards the main man up top for Manningham, Ben Everson. And the attention from Stefan Bresovic, a little bit too physical for the referee's liking. No surprise to see Everson being kept very close tabs on. Has 11 goals to his name this season, Ben Everson. Has been perhaps one of the limitations for Manningham is their reliance on their striker. Those 11 goals, next highest scorer. Well, James Tuntis has moved into outright second with his goal earlier tonight, but he's only got 4. So that gap really tells you how important Ben Everson is to this Manningham team, and you contrast that to Dandy City. But Kenny Athew's leading the way with 8. And now we see the chance for Brady Quinn and Dandy City. Puts the cross inside. Arriving in the middle of the box was George Lambatoridis. And to be honest, you probably think he should have done better with the space and time he had in such a great position, really snatching at the chance. Lambatoridis, who has scoring form against Manningham, scored twice in the earlier meeting between these teams this season. But it's an early escape for the visitors in the second half. Hayden Brown, no doubt, grateful to see that ball rolling wide of his post. Webster able to get the ball going in the right direction from his team's perspective. This is Bauer. Fortunately, looks fully fit despite that firm challenge he copped in the first half. Seen a lot of Quinn in these kinds of positions so far. That time it was Marco Tavella who won out. Attempted combination between Georgopoulos and Tuntis, but the pass to Everson is over the striker's head. This is Bresovic out to the left-hand side. Bit of an awkward bounce for Bauer. Does enough to win his team a throw. Throw sent up towards the scorer for Dandy City, Iaconis. Very nearly won back by Quinn. Manningham do enough to get the ball away. Bresovic and Everson have been in close quarters for pretty much the whole game. Stefan Bresovic and Ben Everson. Everson, a player who we know doesn't need a whole lot of space to damage the opposition. So far they've done a pretty good job at keeping tabs on the Manningham striker, have Dandy City's defence. Mentioned the previous meeting between these two teams this season, ending 3-2 to Dandy City. If you go back to last season when both of these teams were in the second division, played out a couple of draws, including here at Frank Holohan. The scorer on that day for Dandenong City was indeed Damien Iaconis. So he certainly knows how to hurt this Manningham outfit. It's fair to say the Manningham attacking threat has largely dissipated since that first 20 minutes. Although there was that chance for Junior Carter just before half-time to make it 3. Chance now down the right-hand side. It's a strong run from Al-Sadi that ends up giving away the foul. Mohamed Al-Sadi, who scored Manningham's goal in their defeat at Hume City last time out. It's been a frustrating night so far, though, for the winger. See a bit of a shove from Kenny Atthew on Alex Castiello. Referee not convinced there was enough for a foul, but Hayden Brown comfortably claims the ball. It's probably fair to say that the first 10-11 minutes of this second half haven't quite had the same level of intensity as did the first half. It's probably good news if you're a Manningham affiliated person. The way that that first half ended, felt like it was only a matter of time before Dandenong City did get that equalising goal. The second half has felt much more controlled, as the Blues just work their way slowly up the field. Ali Turgott will restart the play with the throw. Goes short to Everson. But the attacking move is short-lived. This is Bauer in a tight space. Got past a couple, but Georgopoulos' touch made it real awkward. Charging forward is Castiello. To get the second goal for Manningham. And whilst our view is obscured, it looks as if Alex Castiello has ended up in the book for kicking the ball away after it rolled out of play. And perhaps gives an indication as to the Manningham mindset in this second half. Just the one win in 14 league games for Manningham. 3 points tonight would be worth their weight in gold. Danny Kim tries the outside of the boot ball forward. We saw Castiello making the run from defence before. Now it's Dow Ackle. Finds himself in the box. Important block from Lambatarides. Quinn had a couple of options and managed to pick the third of them with Kirk Kuaku. Iaconis and Kuaku are physical in the middle of the park. Now Kenny Atthew sets away Bauer down the left-hand side. Will Bauer looks to tee up Lambatarides, who crosses it again. Iaconis with the finish. At Dandy City a level, Damien Iaconis has 2. And they've clawed their way back from 2-0 down With over half an hour left on the clock, Dandy City are back at 2-2. And now they'll look to go one step further. Iaconis, a very different finish to his first, but the result is the same. And so, not for the first time this season, Manningham have coughed up a 2-goal lead. Neither team posing a particularly severe attacking threat up to this point in the second half. But a lovely flicked finish from the man in the number 14 shirt for Dandenong City. Everson now tries the flick on. Now Lambatarides cops a bit of a shove from Tuntus, but not before directing the ball into the path of his teammates. A great touch from Junior Carter. Gives Tuntus the chance. Run comes from Georgopoulos. Cross inside. Everson was the target. Yet again, the Dandy City defence, after that rough first 20 minutes, they've looked commanding in this game. Castiello is the target of the corner. Arriving late was Turgott. And now Bresovic can charge forward for Dandenong City. Looks for the crossfield ball. Tavello is in the right position. Well, one back by Castiello. Ben Everson now is in on goal. Looks to get past Webster. Ben Everson flashes past the post. And against the run of play, Manningham very nearly reclaiming their lead. Nick Tolios is going hoarse with his voice. So much yelling has he been doing from the technical area. And that one frustrating him as his team have finally worked their way back level and very nearly coughing up their position again. Well, credit to Manningham. They've responded well to that equalising goal. Akol now. Blocked out by Lambatarides. Now this is Kenny Athieu. Junior Carter pinches it from his toes. Although now Danny Kim can take it in the opposite direction. Lambatarides. Crossfield ball. Savella got the header away from Brady Quinn.
Those balls when we go direct, because DK and that Lambert are too far apart from each other. Hold it! Hold it!
And Dandy City have themselves a corner. And a chance now for the hosts to complete the full turnaround from 2-0 down. Ball in is deep, and Stefan Bresovic was the player arriving at the back post. The end result is another corner, this time from the other side. And Matarides making his way over to that corner flag, which you can see is heavily affected by the wind. And Matarides goes direct again. Bresovic possibly the target. Webster was there as well. And it'll be a third straight corner delivery. Lambatarides, if he wasn't already, getting his full cardio regime in with his runs from one end of the pitch to the other. Or one side from the other, maybe. Lambatarides. Quinn was there as the short option. Goes into the box instead. Bauer was there and he thundered it into the post. Oh, not the most convincing corner defence from Manningham. But they escape for now. A series of set-piece deliveries. Things just slipping out between the fingers of George Kakaletsis's team right at the minute. Kenny Athieu. Cole got there. Castiello. And as far as Lambatarides. Now Alex Castiello stepping out of the defence. Looks for Tuntis. Crucial touch comes in from Zidius. Challenge now for Manningham. They're a few minutes after the equaliser goal were positive. Can they turn the broader momentum in this game? Sadi. Deflected pass into the path of Kim. And now Bauer. Junior Carter's running with him. Carter will get his body between his opponent and the ball. Although Bauer looking to pinch it back from him. The support was there from Turgut. Everson. A wonderful first touch to make the space for himself. The pass, though, intercepted by Zidius. And Castiello cops the shove from Brady Quinn. Probably went down a little bit easy there. The dominant centre half, Alex Castiello, but got the result he was after. Georgopoulos now for Manningham. In towards Tavella. But behind Tuntis, who was offside as well. So over 20 minutes played in this second half. And Dandenong City are back level. Just taking you around the grounds. South Melbourne did get a third goal, so with 5 minutes left in that one, South look very likely to go on to secure the 3 points. This is Bauer. Flashes his shot over the crossbar. It was a more direct approach from Dandy City. Athieu with the header into the path of his teammate. So because Dandy City have at least got themselves back into the position where they're currently taking a point from this game, they would move too clear of Port Melbourne. Meanwhile at the Village, Hume City have got themselves an equaliser against Heidelberg. That game without significant implications for the two teams we're watching here at Frank Holohan. Although it could affect who Dandenong City would play in a final if they were indeed to finish inside the top 6. Ball into the area again. Athieu with the flick on. Webster was there. Critical clearance out towards James Tuntis. Kim deemed to have gotten the lightest of touches on that one. So Castiello will restart play for Manningham. Long ball up. Again, it's hard work for the Manningham forwards to get on the ball in the final third. That is what's presented itself now, though, for Ben Everson. He looks to send Webster one way, then the other. Cross comes from Everson. Sadi with the attempt. Power, though, taken out of the strike as it was driven into the ground. A more promising attempt for Manningham, though. And looks as if the hosts are readying perhaps a double substitution when they next get the chance. Nick Tolios may be feeling that his team just needs a little extra boost heading towards the final 20 minutes or so of action. Indeed, the change will now be allowed to come. It will be just the one. It's the end of the night for Brady Quinn. And it's their second top scorer this season, Tim Atharinos, who will make his bow. Atharinos, of course, the former Melbourne Victory and Nunawading man. And it's a potent attacker to bring on at this stage of the game for Dandenong City. What looks like it'll be a straight swap on the right wing. Akol heads it out into that area of the pitch. And so James Idias will look to take the throw. Towards Iconis. Did enough to get it back to his fullback. Hello, Tavella. And now Lambataridis. Danger for Turgott, falls into the path of Atharinos. The substitute looking to make an instant impact off the bench. Now Georgopoulos taps it into the path of Tuntus. Continuing his run is Georgopoulos, but Webster was able to win the ball back before Tuntus could get it out of his feet. Mentioned that Hume-Heidelberg game and not having significant direct implications for these two teams, although they'll be keeping their eye on how Heidelberg play that one out, because both of them do play Heidelberg in the last couple of weeks of the season. It's a real interesting run home for Dandenong City. To see that long ball over the top, calling for John Hall to come out of his penalty area and boot it upfield. Kenny Athieu made a bit of space for himself, at least for a moment. Quickly the numbers were back for Manningham. This is Danny Kim. Sends it up, one back by Junior Carter, who's just been everywhere in midfield tonight for Manningham. Now Everson. He and Webster do battle, and the result is a free kick the way of Manningham. Well, I think the call was for a handball. And there is now a conversation going on between the officials, because Jack Webster is on a yellow card for that challenge towards the end of the first half. And indeed he's been shown a second one. And Dandenong City are down to 10. Their experienced man at the heart of defence, Jack Webster, given his marching orders. And so this game with another big twist. And the Dandenong City captain will make his way up the tunnel. And the hosts will have to see out this game with 10 players, and that is maybe the spark that Manningham needed to revitalise their late charge in this game. That will prompt a very quick response from the bench. This time Giannakopoulos will be brought into the game in response by Nick Tolios. Danny Kim, the player sacrificed. And Giannakopoulos will presumably reclaim his position in the defensive line. Well, this game continuing to deliver all the twists and the turns. James Tuntus now standing over this dead ball in a pretty dangerous position. Tuntus fires into the wall. The follow-up. The chance now falls! And somehow the chance goes begging for Manningham. Absolutely golden opportunity. Just moments after the sending off of Jack Webster. And Manningham will not believe that they passed up the chance to go 3-2 ahead. It was an awkward deflection in the penalty area. And so somehow the score remains at 2-2. It was Georgopoulos who had the chance. The man brought on very early in this second half to replace the injured Jose Ramirez. This game continuing to deliver on the entertainment front. Foul called the way of Junior Carter. Kenny Athiu deemed to have infringed. And Manningham, with the momentum having suddenly shifted back in their favour, they'll take the chance to make another substitution. It's the end of the night for Kurt Kuaku, and one of the mid-season recruits, Paul Quall, will make his way into the game. Of course, the former Dandy Thunder player, Paul Quall. And he'll look to do his work now against Dandenong City. Tunta sends the ball into the area. It's a commanding take from John Hall. Ali Turgott for Manningham. Cross into the area, Everson. Good touch, Everson strikes. Good save from John Hall. The angle was narrow and the goalkeeper got his hands up in time. Now Etherinos for Dandenong City. Out towards Bauer, it's a wonderful first touch. Junior Carter, as he's done so many times tonight, cutting out the attacking move. And that ball will go out of play. So after a second half where you felt Dandenong City were always just creeping their way further and further in the ascendancy, they got that equalising goal. The red card to their captain, Jack Webster, means that suddenly Manningham look revitalised, and as if they may well still come away with the 3 points from Frank Holohan's soccer complex. Paul Quall. That touch. Well, the touch of a player who's just been brought into the game. Etherinos, another of the recent substitutes. Tavella and Zidius do battle. Now Lambatarides. Quall disrupts the pass and now has the ball at his feet. Georgopoulos out towards Tuntus, back towards Quall. Etherinos, Junior Carter. Now Lambatarides sends it up towards the scorer of both of Dandenong City goals, Damien Iaconis. This is Kenny Athiu. Space for Lambatarides. Goes himself from a long way out, George Lambatarides. And he made decent contact with that one. But it was always rising and indeed over the crossbar and behind for a goal kick. And Lambatarides, whose influence on this game has grown throughout it. So Dandenong City just reminding Manningham of the threat they will continue to pose despite their numerical disadvantage.
Pulley, win the flick on, pulley. Yanni, grab it, Yanni, grab it.
Tavella. Atherinos was there to send it out.
Come on, intensity, come on, pick it up.
Of course, the closing stages of this game take on even more importance when you look at Dandenong City's final 2 games of the season. We mentioned that both of these teams will play Heidelberg. For Dandenong City, that's their last game of the campaign. It'll be away at the Village, as we see Tuntis somehow wriggle his way free of 2 defenders, and then he's dragged down by Tom Giannakopoulos, who will go into the referee's notebook as a result. So a bit of a renaissance within this game for James Tuntis. Scored the opening goal and is right now causing all sorts of trouble for the Dandy City defence. But with such a tough away assignment in their final game away at Heidelberg for Dandenong City, their game next week has to be their biggest of the season when they host Port Melbourne. 2 teams right in the conversation. And Dandy City will be desperate to at least go into that game with a couple of points ahead of their rivals. Free kick taken by Tuntis. It's low and hard, and very nearly fell into the path of Paul Quoll. Final 10 minutes of this second half. It has been a truly breathless encounter. Tim Atherinos. Cole getting back and supporting. Now Castiello. Looking forward. The ball's kept alive. John Hall had to make the important intervention. Well, a disappointing corner. We saw the assistant's flag go up straight away as it went out of play before coming back in. So a bit of a waste for Manningham. For Manningham, the run home. It's next week that they'll be taking on Heidelberg. Well, not next week, but next round in a couple of weeks' time. They'll take on Heidelberg for the final game at Paddy's Reserve of the season before they end their campaign at Paisley Park. And an away game against Altona. Dandenong City once more make their foray forward. Quoll now for Manningham. Plays the long ball into the middle of the park, and it's a good one. Opportunity for Tuntis out to the right-hand side. Al-Sadi. Back towards Tuntis. Really well read by Giannakopoulos, though. And he was fouled as well in the process. So as things stand, we're heading towards a third draw in 4 meetings between these 2 teams. Manningham do have a numerical advantage for the closing stages of this game. The challenge is making it pay. And Dandenong City, we've seen no reduction in their ambition since that red card to Jack Webster. Crossfield ball, Atherinos sneaking in. It's a vital save from Hayden Brown. You saw what Atherinos was trying to do, poking it past the on-rushing goalkeeper. Manningham's mid-season recruit does just enough to direct the ball away from his goal. Georgopoulos towards Al-Sadi. Goes himself, calls for handball, and indeed the referee points to the penalty spot. Mohammed Al-Sadi has given his team the chance to get back in front with just 5 minutes of regulation time remaining. They withstood a Dandenong City storm for a large portion of this game. Stefan Bresovic goes into the book as a result. And Ben Everson will take on the responsibility to potentially give his team an invaluable 3 points. It'll be Ben Everson against John Hall, 2 experienced campaigners in front of the home support for Dandenong City. And Everson goes towards the bottom corner and he puts it away. Ben Everson is the man for Manningham. His 12th goal of the season may well be one of the most important as he returns his team to the lead with just 5 minutes remaining. And Manningham now are so close to a critical 3 points in their campaign. It's heartbreak for Dandenong City, who worked so hard to get back into this game. And now we're staring down the barrel of 0 points from a game that they would be heavily fancied to win heading into it. And really, who else but Ben Everson to score the crucial goal? Well, there's nothing to lose now for Dandenong City. They've got to throw everything at these final few minutes. Long ball towards Kenny Athew. Well, it skips past the striker. And just for a second, you wondered whether it might sneak inside the far post. Hayden Brown was a little bit worried. But now Nick Tolios will throw everything at this final few minutes. Triple change incoming. Brad Plant, Josh Scarlett and Lukman Hassani all brought into the game. It's the end of the night for Stefan Bresovic. And we'll get confirmation on who the other 2 players brought off were. But it's the mid-season signing, Lukman Hassani, who made his debut last week coming off the bench against South Melbourne, along with Brad Plant, who's missed so much of this campaign, but has very quickly made his mark since making his way back into the team. Well, a couple of repeated throw-ins. This is exactly what Manningham United will be happy with. Just soaking more and more seconds off the clock. And they're just creeping their way forward. They'll be very comfortable with this state of affairs right at the moment, Manningham. Everson, all given away. Scarlett, now Lambatarides. One back importantly by Georgopoulos. This is James Tuntus. Wasn't able to get the ball in the right position for a strike. Now Giannakopoulos in towards Lambatarides as Dandenong City make their way forward. Hassani does enough to win the throw. This is James Zidius. Looks in board. Down the feet of Brad Plant. Follow-up ball sent into the box, but again, the numbers are in the right places for Manningham.
Dandy, Dandy. Boys, I'm standing, yeah.
Zidius looks inside towards Josh Scarlett, and that's a really firm coming together between Junior Carter and George Lambatterides, both going for the ball. Cross inside from Zidius. Players continuing for the minute. Junior Carter is writhing in pain on the deck, and the chance will now come for some medical assistance to come his way. Did look like a very firm coming together. And so, the fourth official shows 6 minutes of stoppage time to be played. We'll see if we'll get more than that, considering the injury treatment that Junior Carter is now receiving.
That's right! That's right!
So not for the first time tonight, we have a bit of a delay to proceedings with Junior Carter still receiving some medical attention. And Nick Tolio is just getting confirmation from the fourth official that the 6 minutes will start when we get play back underway. Junior Carter is back on his feet. And so, on the match clock, it looks as if we'll be closer to 98 minutes by the time the final whistle blows. And that assuming there aren't any further delays. So we see Junior Carter is being assisted off the pitch. So Manningham will be forced into another substitution to get back to their full complement of 11. And it will be another one of the mid-season recruits, David Warabu, who will play out stoppage time for Manningham as they put all hands on deck and look to hold out to secure 3 points in just their third last game of the season. Giannakopoulos, ball into the box, flick on header into the path and the grateful arms of Hayden Brown.
Yeah, good. Come on, Yanni, come on.
Sidious goes short towards Hassani. Works out though for Manningham as Tuntis looks inside. Everson and Quoll. And it's fallen effectively. Ben Everson with the chance to seal the game. Ben Everson scores Manningham's fourth, and with that secures 3 monumental points for the visitors tonight. 2 late Ben Everson goals will prove to be the difference. And Manningham United continue to fight deep into the season. For Dandenong City, their end to the campaign just got a whole lot more difficult And finals football far from a certainty for Nick Tolios' men. And this right now is about Manningham, who with these 3 points will move within just a single point of St Albans. St Albans still to play this weekend. And we'll have another delay, as Mohammed Al-Sadi, who played a vital role in that 4th goal, receives a little bit of treatment. Well, you can't imagine that there's a way back from here for Dandenong City. So with just a handful of minutes of stoppage time remaining, Dandenong City will need things to go more or less perfectly from here. Ball in, skims over the head though of Kenny Athieu, and Hayden Brown will get back underway with the goal kick. So if indeed there are to be 2 teams to go down from the top flight of men's football in Victoria this season, Manningham have given themselves a real fighting chance. As mentioned, just the 1 point gap now separating them from St Albans. And with their games to come this season being at home to Heidelberg before the final game is away at Altona, could yet find their way out of the bottom 2. This is Tim Atharinos though for Dandenong City, who now head into next week's game against Port Melbourne. Well, in a much less positive mind state, you'd think, than they did going into tonight's game. And they sealed the 3 points. They would be 4 clear. And that would mean that, well, that game against Port Melbourne, the result didn't necessarily have to matter. But now it most certainly does, because it'll be just the 1 point separating the 2 teams when they kick off here at Frank Holohan Soccer Complex next week. This is Lambatarides. Right down the throat of Hayden Brown. You have to credit the character and the resilience that Manningham have shown tonight. They started this game absolutely on fire. 2 goals in the first 20 minutes. They'd stunned Dandenong City, as we see. Well, a fairly agricultural attempt to stop the play from Murabu. Cross comes in from the right-hand side from Hassani. Castiello has been a monster at the back for Manningham. Even in a team that have conceded 2 goals, he's been one of their best. Hassani again uses his fellow substitute Atharinos. But speak of the devil, Alex Castiello charging out of defence and making sure of things. Scarlett now just has so many bodies to work his way through. He's made a decent attempt at it. Ball cross field. Lambatarides. Brad Plant, who had his eyes set on that far corner, but the strike goes slightly wide of the post. And with that, surely any hope of an even more dramatic late revival for Dandenong City is done with. And Brown instructed to hurry up his resumption of play. And played almost to the 99th minute. Indeed, into the 100th minute of action. which is where we look like we will end up. Qual towards Tuntus. Ben Everson has some space. Is there a possibility of a late hat-trick for Ben Everson? Shifts it onto his left. Got the shot away, but the numbers were back. It matters not. Manningham United have claimed a huge 3 points at Frank Holohan. They came out on fire in the first 20 minutes and got themselves 2-0 ahead. Dandenong City, though, clawed their way back into the action slowly but surely and had us at 2-2 and looked to be the more likely team to go on and win. But then it was the red card to Jack Webster that really changed the momentum in a decisive manner. Manningham reclaiming the ascendancy, and 2 goals from Ben Everson, 1 from the spot in the final 10 minutes of the game were enough for Manningham to take all 3 points. Their hopes of survival are very much still alive. As for Dandenong City, they go into their biggest game of the season next week against Port Melbourne, which is the 1 point separating the 2 teams in the fight for finals football. But that's all the time that we have for tonight. Friday night football at Frank Holohan. A thrilling game. Full-time score, Dandenong City 2, Manningham United 4.